The call came in just after 5 p.m., the kind of late-day crash that always felt worse because traffic was heavy and tempers were short. Engine 12 rolled out fast, siren pushing aside the warm Tennessee air. Marcus Hale sat in the officer's seat, helmet on his lap, eyes fixed forward as the engine rumbled along the two-lane highway cutting through farmland and small industrial lots. The radio chatter was already urgent. Multiple vehicles involved, propane cylinders on the roadway, possible ignition risk. Marcus felt his chest tighten slightly. Propane accidents were unpredictable. Gas didn't ask for permission. It just waited for the one spark that changed everything. They were dispatched as First Suppression Unit. Rescue 7 was a few minutes behind, and state troopers were already diverting cars. Marcus watched the smoke ahead, a thin gray column rising, not thick enough for full involvement, but bad enough to raise the stakes. When Engine 12 stopped, the heat hit him before he stepped down. Asphalt cooked from a small fire burning at the rear of a mangled pickup truck. 2 propane cylinders had rolled onto the shoulder. Another lay under the truck's bed, its valve bent. A blue Ford SUV sat sideways across the lane, front end crushed, windshield starred with cracks. A third car was in a ditch, its driver already being helped out by a trooper. Marcus pulled on his gloves and scanned the scene with trained eyes. Small fires flickered along spilled fuel. The pickup's bed was warped from impact, a thin flame dancing under the tailgate. That was where the gas leak had started. He could hear it, an angry hiss pushing air out through a torn valve. Engine 12 establishing command, Marcus said into the radio. We've got active fire, propane leak, and entrapment in the SUV. We need Rescue 7 expedited. His crew moved quickly. Turner dragged a Hosseline across the pavement, aiming at the burning pickup. Morales began clearing debris to open a safe zone. Everything smelled like hot metal and vaporized fuel. Marcus jogged toward the SUV. A trooper pointed inside. Kid's stuck in the back seat. Mom's out. She's over there with EMS. Says the door jammed when they got hit. He reached the rear passenger door and pulled. It didn't budge. The frame had folded inward. Through the shattered glass, he saw the girl, maybe 7 or 8, curled against the opposite seat, hands clamped over her ears. She was crying but breathing. That was something. Hey, Marcus said, leaning close to the broken window. I'm Marcus. I'm with the fire department. I'm right here with you. She didn't look up, just shook harder at the sound of another small explosion from the pickup truck's bed. A flare-up, likely from a pocket of vapor catching fire. Morales shouted, Hale! Flames are growing under the truck! Marcus glanced back. Fire was licking at the closest tank. Not engulfed yet, but heating fast. If that cylinder vented violently, the pressure wave would hit the SUV first. Turner, keep water on that tank. Keep it cool, Marcus yelled. Trying, but we're fighting the wind, Turner shouted back. Marcus returned to the SUV door. He tested the hinges and the seam in the frame. It was jammed solid. Too much force inward from the collision. They'd need cutters. Rescue 7, what's your ETA? Marcus called over the radio. 2 minutes out. 2 minutes felt like an hour when a propane tank was heating 10 yards away. He ducked inside the broken window, careful to avoid the jagged edges. I'm gonna get you out, he said softly. You're doing great, just breathe for me. The girl trembled, eyes red, cheeks streaked with dust. It's loud. I know. I'm staying right with you. Another sharp hiss came from behind the pickup, another tank leaking. Marcus's instincts screamed at him to get the girl out right now, before the fire compromised the cylinder. He yelled to Morales, grab the Halligan, we're going to pry this door. Morales sprinted over, tool in hand. Marcus braced his boot against the SUV's frame and jammed the Halligan's adze between the door and hinge. The metal resisted at first, groaning as he pulled. Morales applied pressure too. A burst of flame shot up from the pickup bed. Fast, bright, loud. Turner yelled, Flash on the bed! Pressure's building! Marcus didn't have seconds left. He gave one more brutal pull on the door. The metal bent outward but didn't open fully. There wasn't enough clearance to pull the girl through without cutting. He looked through the window again. The girl's breathing was turning shallow, panic overtaking her. Marcus! Turner called. Tank's heating fast. We gotta fall back if it blows. He knew the protocol. He also knew he wasn't leaving the kid alone inside that SUV with a tank about to torch off. Morales, keep prying, Marcus said. Don't stop unless I tell you. Then he leaned inside, reaching across the seat. "Come here, sweetheart," he said gently. "I'm gonna cover you, okay? You're safe with me." She nodded through tears, too scared to speak. Behind him, the fire popped again, louder this time. Marcus pulled himself into the SUV, wedging his shoulders in the small space beside her. He wrapped one arm around her, shielding her with his turnout coat, putting his own body between her and the direction of the flames. He'd done this instinctively countless times over the years. Be a wall when there wasn't one. Outside, Turner shouted, voice shaking, "Hale, the tank's about to vent." Marcus tightened his hold on the girl and lowered his head. "Stay down," he whispered. "I've got you." And then everything outside the SUV turned bright. The flash outside wasn't the tank exploding. That would have torn the SUV apart. It was a sudden flare, a fast ignition of vapor that sent a sheet of fire rolling across the pavement. The SUV shuddered from the heat wave, and Marcus tightened his grip around the girl, pressing her closer to the floorboard. She cried out and buried her face into his coat. "It's okay," Marcus said, steady but low. "You're covered, you're safe. Keep your head down." Through the shattered window, he could hear Turner battling the flames, the hiss of water hitting hot metal, steam billowing up in harsh bursts. Morales was still at the jammed door, trying to gain another inch. Every sound told Marcus how little time they had. Tanks didn't explode the way movies showed, but when a pressure release valve failed or vented violently, it could turn a quiet moment into a blast that toppled anyone too close. Rescue 7 arriving on scene. The radio crackled. "Command, where do you need us?" Marcus leaned slightly toward his shoulder mic without lifting his head from the child. "Rescue 7. Go to the SUV on the south lane. Rear passenger entrapment, door compromised. We need cutters and immediate extrication. Propane tank heating." "Copy, moving." Inside the SUV, the girl's breathing was fast and shallow. She clutched his turnout coat with both fists, her hands trembling. "Is it gonna blow?" she whispered against his chest. "We're not gonna let that happen," Marcus said. "You hear me? You're getting out of here." A loud metallic ping echoed from the pickup truck, an unmistakable sound of metal warping under heat. Turner shouted, "Tanks venting, everyone back." Morales stepped away from the door on instinct, but Marcus barked, "Stay with it, keep working that frame." His voice was rough but controlled. They needed seconds, not minutes. Morales gritted his teeth, jammed the Halligan deeper, and pulled with everything he had. Rescue 7's crew ran toward them, carrying the hydraulic cutter and spreader. Their officer, Captain Brody, knelt next to the SUV window and peered inside. "Marcus, you good?" "I'm fine. She's okay. Doors pinned high and low. You'll need to cut both sides." Brody nodded. "Copy that. Stay low with her. We'll make the room." The cutter jaws clamped onto the bent hinge, chewing through the steel with a groaning, grinding bite. Sparks shot off the seam. The SUV vibrated with each cut. Marcus shielded the girl's ears with his palm. "You're doing great," he whispered. "Just stay tucked in." Outside, Turner kept the water flowing, sweeping the stream across the tanks, keeping them below critical temperature. But the wind wasn't on their side. Each shift sent heat surging toward them. Brody called out, "Hinge one down, moving to the upper frame." As he repositioned the tool, the propane valve shrieked. A violent, quick release of built-up pressure. A white jet of vapor shot out from beneath the pickup truck, spearing across the asphalt. Turner ducked, redirecting the hose, shouting something Marcus couldn't hear over the roar. The girl whimpered and clung harder to Marcus's coat. He kept himself between her and the window, shoulders rigid, heart pounding but mind locked in the calm he'd built over years on the job. The cutter clamped onto the upper hinge. Brody braced himself. "Cutting!" Another grinding bite. Another groan of metal surrendering. The door shifted outward an inch. Morales shoved his boot against the frame and pulled. "Come on, come on!" The door tore free with a sharp metallic snap. Brody grabbed the edge and swung it away from the SUV. "Hale, we've got an opening." Marcus pulled back just enough to see the gap. The space was still tight but wide enough if he guided the girl out carefully. "You ready?" he asked her. She nodded with a tiny, frightened jerk. "Stay under me. I'm not letting go." He maneuvered himself sideways, keeping his body between her and the pickup. Morales reached in. "Pass her to me. I've got her." Marcus slid one arm under her legs and lifted her enough for Morales to latch on. Morales cradled her and backed away from the SUV. "Get her behind the engine," Marcus shouted. Morales ran her toward the safe zone behind engine 12, where another firefighter took her and crouched with her behind the pump panel, shielding her. Marcus started to crawl backward out of the SUV, and then the tank vented fully. A violent blast of flame shot straight upward, a column of fire punching several feet into the air. The shockwave rattled the SUV and slammed Marcus against the doorframe. Heat slapped across his turnout gear like a heavy hand. "Marcus!" Brody yelled, scrambling backward. Turner swung the hose stream instantly, hammering water into the flare. The blast didn't detonate the tank, but it sent burning fuel splashing across the pavement. Marcus ducked, rolled, and pushed himself up, lungs drawing in hot air. His gear had taken most of it, but he felt the sting along his neck where his hood had slipped. "Hale, you good?" Turner called. Marcus coughed once, waved him off, and limped toward engine 12. "I'm all right, keep cooling that tank." The flames died down under Turner's stream. The violent heat eased into crackling steam. Behind the engine, the little girl sat wrapped in a blanket, her face streaked with soot but her breathing steady. A medic held her hand while checking her for injuries. When she spotted Marcus, her eyes widened, part recognition, part disbelief that he'd made it out too. Marcus crouched beside her, wincing from the strain on his ribs. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded. "You didn't leave," she said, voice small. "Not a chance," Marcus replied. Her mother, who had been with EMS farther up the road, hurried over, tears already running. She threw her arms around her daughter, then looked at Marcus, overwhelmed. Thank you, bye." Marcus shook his head. "You don't need to thank me, she's safe. That's what matters." Behind him, another tank hissed ominously. Brody yelled, "Hale, we need you back on suppression." Marcus stood, took one more look at the girl, then turned toward the burning pickup. The job wasn't done, not even close. Marcus jogged back toward the pickup truck, ignoring the tightening burn along his neck. Brody was already coordinating the next moves, pointing to the remaining tanks scattered across the pavement. "We've still got another cylinder under the bed," Brody said. "Could be compromised. We need that thing cooled down before it cooks off." Turner, still on the hustle line, shouted over the hiss of steam. "Valves warped. She's venting slow but steady. Heat's bouncing under the truck frame. It's gonna keep flashing if we don't smother it." Marcus took in the scene quickly. The warped tailgate, the charred bumper, the flicker of orange pushing out from underneath. Too much heat trapped in a pocket with nowhere to go. "Let's get foam going," Marcus said. "We'll choke the vapor and cool it together." Brody nodded. On it. Morales and another firefighter dragged the foam line off the engine. Turner shifted his stream, sweeping water across the hottest points, while Morales prepared the foam nozzle. The air smelled like burning plastic, spilled fuel, and chemical propellant, harsh enough to sting the sinuses. A state trooper jogged up to Marcus, slightly out of breath. Fires spreading toward the grass line on the shoulder. "We've got embers jumping." Marcus looked over his shoulder. Sure enough, small flames were crawling along the dry grass toward a line of brush. "Have patrol start clearing a perimeter and kick dirt on anything that's catching. We'll get a line over there once the tanks are stable." The trooper ran off again. Brody gave a signal and Morales opened the foam line. A thick white coat washed under the truck, smothering the vapor and taming the flame. Turner knocked down the remaining hotspots. Bit by bit, the angry roar faded into a low sizzle. The crew worked in tight coordination. Nobody rushing, nobody hesitating, everyone doing exactly what their training carved into their bones. Marcus felt a swell of respect for them, the kind he didn't say out loud but carried everywhere. After several minutes, Brody checked the tank with his thermal camera. "Temperature's dropping, that's what I want to see." Marcus exhaled through his mask. "Good. Let's keep cooling until it's safe to move in and secure the valves." As they continued working, Rescue 7's crew approached with an update. "SUV driver stable. The girl's good. No serious injuries. EMS is transporting soon." Marcus nodded, relieved but keeping his focus on the scene. The danger wasn't gone yet. The second propane cylinder, the one lying in the gravel shoulder, began to hiss louder, its valve fully severed. A jet of vapor sprayed sideways in a white plume. Morales pointed. "Hale, that one's leaking hard." Marcus moved fast. "Turner, hit that plume. Brody, get me another line on the far side." The foam stream blanketed the area, cooling the tank and keeping the vapor from reaching the small grass fire that was still creeping along the shoulder. Morales stomped out the flames with the heel of his boot, kicking dirt and smothering embers with whatever he had. The air filled with steam, fogging the scene enough that everything looked like a gray blur. Marcus pushed closer, staying low to see under the pickup. The tank under the truck had cooled enough for him to approach. He crouched, reaching carefully under the twisted frame to check the valve assembly. Metal was still hot, but no longer glowing. The tank was venting slowly now, instead of violently. "Turner, lighten the stream," he said. "I want to close that valve if I can get a grip." Turner eased off the pressure. Marcus slid farther under the bed, boots scraping through glass and melted plastic. His glove found the valve wheel, bent but still functional. He twisted hard. Nothing. He tried again, using both hands this time, shoulder pressed against the truck's frame for leverage. The valve creaked. Then it turned. The hissing softened, then stopped completely. Marcus backed out, brushing soot from his coat. "Valve secured. That's one down." Brody clapped him on the shoulder. "Nice work." Still, the job wasn't done. The other tanks needed to be checked and secured. Each one was treated like it might still bite them. While they worked, a paramedic from EMS approached the engine, glancing toward Marcus. "Hale, once you're clear, I need to look at your neck." "I'm fine," Marcus said automatically. The medic raised an eyebrow. "Your gear says otherwise." Marcus touched the side of his neck and winced. The skin was raw, the hood slightly singed. He hadn't felt the heat fully until now. "Later," he said. "Scene first." The medic sighed but didn't argue. By the time the last tank was cooled, checked, and removed from the roadway, the sky had shifted to that late evening orange that always made scenes feel strangely calm after chaos. The fire in the grass had been stomped out. The vehicles sat silent and mangled, steam rising from twisted metal. Brody finally called it. "Command, fire under control. Propane tank stabilized. Requesting tow units." Marcus stepped back from the pickup truck, rolling his shoulders. His muscles felt stiff, the kind of stiffness that always set in after the adrenaline wore off. Turner walked over and handed him a bottle of water. "Here, you look like you just wrestled a dragon." Marcus cracked a faint smile. "Felt like it." "How's the kid?" Turner asked. "Scared, but she's all right." Turner nodded, letting out a breath of relief. A moment later, the girl's mother approached again, this time with the girl in a blanket, her feet wrapped in medical booties. The medic followed close behind. The mother hesitated a few feet away, as if unsure she should interrupt. But Marcus stepped toward her. "She wanted to see you," the mother said. The girl looked up, eyes tired but calmer now. "Are you hurt?" she asked. Marcus shook his head. "Nothing I can't handle. You stayed with me," she said quietly. When the fire got loud, "I told you I wasn't going anywhere." She gave a tiny nod. Then, without warning, she wrapped her arms around his turnout coat. He froze for a second, surprised, then gently rested a hand on her back. "You're safe now," he said. When she stepped away, the medic motioned toward him. "Now, can I look at your neck?" Marcus sighed. "Yeah, go ahead." The medic peeled back his hood and winced. "Burned. Not deep, but you need it cleaned and dressed. And you're getting checked out at the hospital." Marcus didn't argue this time. The mother looked at him again, emotion tight in her face. "I don't know how to thank you." "You don't have to," Marcus said softly. "Just be with her. That's enough." Brody approached with a clipboard. "Hale, after EMS checks you, you're riding back with us. We'll finish the report at the station." Marcus nodded, took one more look at the now quiet crash site, and let himself breathe deeper than he had since they arrived. The danger had passed, but the weight of what could have happened hung in the air like smoke. The medic finished cleaning the burn on Marcus's neck, applying a layer of cool gel that made the skin sting before it settled. She taped a dressing over the area and stepped back. "That's going to hurt more later," she said, "but it's minor, you got lucky." Marcus nodded. His mind was still half on the scene around him. Crews packing hose, troopers clearing debris, tow operators positioning their rigs. The chaos had thinned into that strange middle ground where everyone moved slower, quieter, the danger replaced by relief and fatigue. The girl and her mother were in the ambulance now, the lights dimmed, the engine low idling while EMS prepared to transport them. The mother leaned out once more, catching Marcus's eye. "Thank you," she mouthed. He lifted a hand in acknowledgement. He didn't need more than that. Brody approached, helmet off, wiping sweat and soot from his forehead with the back of his glove. "We've got tow on both lanes. Troopers want the road cleared ASAP. We'll wrap up the last hydrant connection and get out of here. Marcus nodded, adjusting his gear. I'll help pack hose. Brody gave him a look, the kind officers gave when they recognized fatigue behind a stubborn face. Hale, I said after EMS checks you ride back with us. That wasn't a suggestion. Marcus exhaled. I'm fine. Brody crossed his arms. Your neck is burned. Your right shoulder looks stiff, and you crawled into a wreck with exploding propane a few feet away. You're done for this scene. Marcus didn't argue, not because Brody outranked him, but because he knew the captain was right. He stepped aside, watching Turner and Morales pack hose with the rhythm of guys who'd done it 1,000 times. Morales gave him a thumbs up. Marcus returned it with a tired grin. The sun had dipped low enough that the sky was a deep, warm orange. Long shadows stretched across the road, broken by flashing lights from patrol cars and the slow strobe of the ambulance. The worst was over, but the energy of it still hung thick in the air. Tow operators dragged the wrecked pickup onto the flatbed, the frame screeching as it scraped off broken glass. Steam still curled from under the bed where the tanks had been. One operator asked, "These safe to move?" Brody answered, "Valves are closed. They'll hold, but move slow and don't hit them against anything." "Copy that." Marcus walked toward engine 12, slowing when he saw the girl sitting upright in the ambulance, blanket pulled around her shoulders. She gave him a little wave, shy but steady. He stepped closer, keeping to the doorway. "How you holding up?" She shrugged in a small, brave way. "Tired. That's normal," he said. "Long day." She bit her lip. "Are the tanks gonna blow up again?" "No," Marcus said. "We made them safe. It's all over now." She nodded, eyes drifting toward the destroyed SUV her family had been riding in. She didn't say anything about it, but the fear was sharp in her face. Marcus recognized that look, the moment a kid realized the world could hurt you out of nowhere. Her mother squeezed her hand gently. "Get some rest," Marcus told her. The medic leaned out from the back of the ambulance. "We'll see you at the hospital, Hale?" "Yeah," he said. "I'll be there in a bit." The ambulance doors closed with a soft thud, and the vehicle pulled away, its lights rolling down the darkening stretch of highway. Brody signaled Marcus to climb into the engine. The ride back was quiet. Turner and Morales too drained to talk. Marcus lost in the replay of the rescue, the sound of propane venting, the heat hitting his gear, the girl's tiny hands clutching his coat. Scenes like that always stuck longer than he wanted them to. Back at the station, the routine took over. Gear off, hose rinsed, equipment checked. The crew worked in comfortable silence, each man processing the shift in his own way. Turner set a hand on Marcus's shoulder. "You did good today." Marcus nodded. "We all did." "Still," Turner added, lowering his voice, "that was a hell of a move. Going in like that with the tank cooking." Marcus shrugged. "She was trapped." "What was I supposed to do?" "Some people freeze," Turner said. "You didn't." Marcus didn't have an answer for that. He just walked over to the sink and washed soot from his hands, watching the water swirl dark before running clear. Later, in the quiet of the day room, Marcus sat alone on the worn leather couch. His shoulder ached. His neck throbbed. But it wasn't the physical pain that settled heavy. It was the weight of how close the girl had come to not making it, and how fast the whole scene could have turned. He leaned back, exhaling slowly. The garage door creaked, and Brody stepped inside. "Hospital called," he said. "Girl's stable, no burns, no fractures. They're keeping her for observation, but she's going to be fine." Marcus felt tension leave his chest in a slow wave. "Good." Brody studied him for a moment. "You good?" Marcus nodded. "Just tired." Brody pulled up a chair and sat across from him. "You know, not everyone would have crawled in that SUV. That kind of heat. Most guys would have waited for the cutters." Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. "There wasn't time." "You're right," Brody said. "And the way you shielded her, that probably saved her life." Marcus didn't respond. Compliments never sat well with him. He knew the job for what it was. Showing up, making the call in front of you, taking the hit if that's what it required. Brody stood. "Get checked. Then go home. You earned it today." After the captain walked out, Marcus stayed in the quiet a moment longer. The station hum, machines cooling, radios clicking, the distant metallic groan of the bay settling, felt comforting in a way only firefighters understood. He picked up his gear bag, wincing slightly at the pull in his shoulder. Before he left, he paused at the front doors and looked out at the street. Evening traffic flowed by. Normal life continuing, unaware of the chaos that had unfolded just a few hours earlier. He thought about the girl, how small she'd felt when he pulled her close, how tightly she'd held onto him, how much trust she'd placed in a stranger wearing turnout gear. He hoped she'd never remember the worst parts, but he knew she probably would. Kids didn't forget that kind of fear. As he stepped out into the cooling night air, Marcus reminded himself of something he'd learned years ago on his very first fire. You don't get to choose the moments when you're needed. You only choose how you answer them. He took a slow breath, squared his shoulders, and walked to his truck, the adrenaline finally fading, replaced by something steadier, quiet gratitude that for one more day he'd made it home.